Well, I'm making this video just as sort of a support for the files I uploaded to Thingiverse. This is for this flow control downspout diverter, something I needed. And based on the number of people have been downloading this over the last week, I think a lot of people have been wanting this. It's for a 3" by 4" downspout, and all the files can be downloaded from OT and AT there at Thingiverse. And what this is and why I needed it is that I use the rain barrels. And this one particular one here feeds my greenhouse. And the problem, the downside of rain barrels is that they have to handle as much water as coming in, and then to exit that water. Otherwise, it's going to just overflow, and flood your foundation wall, which should be avoided at all costs. So what you're not seeing in this picture here, this is a 2-story house, and so there's a lot of water really accelerating before it hits that rain barrel. Now, I tried to handle some of that excess water when I made this device down here. I put a larger outport on the rain barrel. And I see this in a lot of people's rain barrels out there. They have a small tube or hose or something, and that just cannot handle all that water coming into it. And next thing you know, they have a wet spot in their foundation wall because, well, it's flooding. So I needed something better, and this is my better. Um, it's got a little flap in there, and when the rain barrel gets full, it raises it up, flaps it over, and diverts a lot of the water out. Simple as that. I have a video of it here. I'm just lifting it up, but the water bottle would do that. It's a 1 liter water bottle I put in there for that, and it works just great. Got enough weight to pull it back down, and it has plenty of lift too, I found out. Um, the um, the tricky spot for me was getting this lever arm. I didn't exactly know how to make this so it would last outside. And what I ended up using, these are these electrical standoffs I use in electronic projects. And this is a stainless steel 4-40 bolt. There's another one coming through the other end here. And there's a couple little washers here that corral this 1/2" by 16" piece of aluminum flat stock right here. Now you do have to kind of make the hole a little bit sloppy because the angle changes. So if it's too tight of a hole, it won't change the angle appropriately. You'll figure that out. This is the length I'm using for mine. But again, little washers just to corral it in here. And the tube itself is just a 1/2" OD, very lightweight aluminum. Everything I'm using here is aluminum or stainless steel since it's outside and getting wet all the time. The the flapper that I used, I made mine out of aluminum because I thought originally it needed to be that strong, but I really don't think it needs to be that strong anymore. When it's open, the top of this flapper hits the back of the downspout. So that takes a lot of the stress. So the bearing itself doesn't really take that much stress down here where it's welded on. So I did upload this particular piece so you can 3D print this piece as well. However, I have never used it, but in theory it should work. The downspout I have here, I'm only putting this on a 4-foot piece because I do have to take this down in the fall before everything freezes. It gives me a chance to clean things back up. And to do this, I just cut this with a hacksaw and then just use chin snips to kind of clean up the aluminum here. And I used the section here, and you see in black, I used that kind of a template. I just put it on there and used a Sharpie pen and drew around that area. And it's got to be big enough, of course, that the flapper will you know, not bind with it or hit it, but not too big to be covered. So, but just that size of the opening would work just great. Now it's got to move fairly freely. You can't have it binding, otherwise you'll see it. The flap will be up, and the weight of that water bottle, which is not that great, will not have enough. So I did kind of clean up that spot of plastic there. I even put a little dab of waterproof grease on that, and the bolt right here you see in the bottom, that gets nice and snug, and that's fine, but you can over tighten some of these things too. I found out, especially these outside bolts, it will actually can even warp the piece and it'll bind on it. So okay, this is the 4-foot section outside I'm mounting above my tank. Now be careful, like I said, don't over tighten the bottom ones here because that can actually warp that piece. Now what you're looking at, the green piece is exactly the same print as the black one here. I just reversed it around because the holes will match up. Um, the top, I did drill a hole and there is mosquito netting underneath here. You have to have that, otherwise you'll be having a haven for mosquitoes in here. Uh, and even though that half-inch aluminum tube is not vertical, because the way the system works in the tank and the downspout, it actually is off pointing to the back a little bit. It still works perfectly fine. Um, this is my original design. I cut a pretty good hole just to kind of handle the water. However, it was kind of, when it come through here on, I don't know, just when it's downpouring, it will kind of shoot across the top of this rain barrel. So what I did, I put this little cap on here, and I thought originally I might have to kind of secure it somehow, but it's clipped onto this little plastic lid of the bung here, or whatever, and it's been staying there through many, many storms. So it's been working great. I hope if you're going to go this route, it's going to help keep your foundation better. And the thing I've noticed, what you don't see here, there's also a chunk of limestone in the bottom of this thing here. And in springtime here, our pH is pretty low. Now, sometimes since this goes to my hydroponics, I do have to adjust the pH, but I use that chunk of limestone as kind of a buffer. It comes out really clean, and probably a little bit smaller every year. But anyway, all the files you can see, OT and AT. Hope this helps.